Oh, not a problem. And I'm glad to be able to do this and talk about this great album, Drag Me Down, coming out next Friday.
Yeah, I'm glad you like it.
Oh, absolutely. So, with all this in mind and under the circumstances, how does it feel having this album coming out next Friday?
It feels kind of surreal, just because we've been working on it for 2 years. So it's weird that like the day that we finally get to like unveil it to the world is actually next week.
Yeah.
So, but I'm also excited. So
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something to look forward to in these times, and it's a great album as well, and I think it totally matches the mood of what's going on right now with the extremes, the breakdowns that's going on with it, and just everything that's going along with it. I mean, there's a lot of anger and aggression that's going on in the world right now, and this seems to perfectly fit that.
yeah, the whole doomsday vibe.
Pretty much, yeah. So
I agree.
So, with that in mind, like you said, you've been waiting 2 years along with this album. How did the songwriting process begin for this album?
The way we write songs is that we're so lucky that like Chris, our guitarist, is actually a producer as well. Like that's what he does. Like his full-time job is producing metal. So he has his own studio. So what happened, like our like writing process that we always had is like him sitting in the studio coming up with demos for songs and sending them to us, and we'll all like come with feedback and send it back to him, and we work on them together. So that's what we did for like maybe a year for this one, just like constantly like simultaneously with doing everything else. There'll be this songwriting process always going on. And that's like what we did for a long time with this record. And then there was like all the stuff, getting music videos done, getting the artwork done, and getting all of like the boring stuff, like the office work behind it, like done. That took almost like a year.
Oh, yeah, and, I can just imagine with all that time, being able to sit on these songs, and now with people being able to finally hear them, and before all this, being able to hear it in the live setting, I mean, what was that like, being able to come over here and pre-promote the album here in the States before all this happened?
It was really amazing. It was a really, really good tour. It was our first time ever playing the States, so that's something we always wanted to do. So it's kind of like a dream come true, and it was like an experience. It's like an adventure, and we met so many cool people, and like played a lot of really, really cool shows. So couldn't really ask for more.
Well, I'm glad to hear that it was good circumstances before all this happened, and there was such great touring that was going on, because it seemed like it was such a great package to be able to see you guys on here for the first time.
Yeah, we were really stoked getting to play with all the other guys. I mean, like, we became great friends with the guys from Ingested and Visceral and Last 10 Seconds of Life. Like, they're all like really, really good musicians, and also like more importantly to us, like really, really good dudes. So we just like hung out with them for a month and like had fun. So.
Yeah, and that's totally what matters too when you're going out on tour. When you are able to tour with great people, that just can make the touring experience so much better.
Yeah, definitely. Like you have to like hang out with these people every day for more than a month. Like, so liking each other is like really, really nice. Actually having fun with it is like the best thing ever.
Oh, totally. And, thinking back on the album again, it's just like, it's so great to see that this album did come together the way that it did, and you actually got some really cool people to be able to guest on this album. How did that happen?
It's like, it turns out that all of these cool people like our little band and wanted to do it. Matt from Trivium, we played this festival called Copenhagen, where Trivium was also playing, and he just approached us and was like, "Hey, aren't you the Cabal guys?" And we were like totally starstruck and like, "Oh shit, aren't you guys from Trivium?" And we ended up hanging out with him for the day, and just like, he's such a nice dude and like really easygoing. We just asked him if he wanted to like jump on a song, and he did. And Jamie from Polaris just like wrote us on Instagram one day, like asking about some merch, and thought his name looked familiar. I found out it was like that Jamie, so it's just like asked him like if he wanted to be in a song at some point, and he did. And then they came by Copenhagen with Northlane, and we had him in the studio. And we had Kim from Møl. He's actually like one of our really, really good friends. He actually did the artwork from for Mark of Rot, a previous album, and he's also a great vocalist, so it kind of like just made a lot of sense to give him a spot on the album as well.
Oh, that's just incredible to see three bands like that are so different from each other being able to guest on an album like this and really show off the diversity of sound that's going on.
Yeah, that's also like one of the most exciting parts about having these features. It's like, but on the last record we had CJ from Die Artist Murder and Philip from Humanity's Last Breath, which they made a lot of sense because they're like playing music that sounds a lot like us. But with these other guys like neither Trivium, Polaris, or Mill sounds like anything like us. So it was really cool having these guys from like vastly different metal bands like adding their like flair to each song.
Oh, very much so. So, with that in mind, I mean, being able to have guests like this on this album in particular, I mean, how hard was it being able to decide what singles were going to be released from the album before it came out?
We had a lot of fights about that, but I feel like we just like tried to put us into like the listener's place, like thinking about like, okay, which songs is like most easily digestible, because like a single is basically a promotion tool. So you want to be able to like reach as many people as possible. So we try to just like figure out which of our songs would probably be the easiest to get into for somebody who doesn't know us, and like pick singles from that.
Yeah, and that's actually a really smart way to go about it too. And when you can get people hooked on those songs that are the easiest to get into, then they check out the rest of the album, and then they just have their mind explode about what's going on with the rest of the album.
Exactly, and that's the idea. Just like trying to lure as many people in as we can with the singles, so they'll listen to the entire album.
Oh, totally, and I'm so glad that it did turn out that way too, because from what I've been seeing online when it comes to the singles and everything that's going along with that, there seems to be so much great positive reception in this album, and I'm glad to see that.
Yeah, there really is. It's super nice also because like making a sophomore album is just like there's a lot more pressure now because we actually have people waiting for it. Like actually have a fan base now, so it's just like really, really nice seeing that they actually like it.
Yeah, and again, that's another reason why I am so happy this is coming out during these dark times that are going on right now, because again, like I mentioned before, I mean, it does sound like it's a great soundtrack to this doomsday feeling that's going on in the world right now, and the fact that you were able to actually get some touring in here in the States for the first time before all of this happened. Yeah. So what's happening now with you guys? I mean, now that everything's in quarantine.
Yeah, like our release party for the album had to be moved, so we were planning on like releasing the album on the 3rd of April and then having a release party on 10th. But now we had to move it all the way into August just to make sure that it doesn't get cancelled. And like basically everything we planned like to do, we had like a lot of cool stuff coming up this spring, but everything is cancelled and moved. So right now it's just like focusing on getting ready for the release and then just like preparing for what will hopefully be a really good autumn if everything has returned to normal.
Yeah, and I really hope that does happen too, for a multitude of reasons, but especially in this case here, you know, being able to promote the album in that live setting and, you know, just having that feeling of everything getting back to normal.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that, just like being able to do all the stuff I like doing again.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's such a strange feeling of feeling like you can't go outside, and a lot of sensationalism and a lot of real things that are going on along with that, too. I mean, from left, right, and center, just what's going on in the world right now. I never thought we would live through something like this.
No, it's kind of wild. Like, I think it's the first, like, global pandemic there's been maybe ever, because, like, we had, like, pandemics, and we had like the Spanish flu and stuff like that around. I think it was like around World War One, but that's like mostly in Europe from what I've like read. So also, but now we have like, because flying, like the world is so connected that shit like this spreads all over the world now. This is like a new situation for everyone. Nobody's been in this situation before.
Yeah, and you know, thankfully, with technology and the way that we do have things now, we are able to connect to so many people, our friends and family, and in your case, the fans, and being able to stay connected with them, you know, like through releasing the album and, you know, everything going forward. So at least we're not completely in the dark with each other.
Oh, that's nice that we have that at least. It also, like, allows a lot of people to keep their job and, like, work from home. And even though there is, like, serious serious economic consequences amongst like other bad things. But like, luckily, a lot of people can like sustain themselves that way.
Oh, very much so. I know people, both family and friends, that are thankfully able to work from home to be able to do their things, and other people that are essential workers that are working like in grocery stores and hospitals that are dealing with this stuff going on every single day. And it's just after all of this happens, the repercussions of what can happen worldwide, it's a horrible thing to think about. But in the meantime, as long as we can just try to be safe and sound, and just hopefully being able to get out of this on the other side is the first mission.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm a believer that we'll get through this and like return to some simpler stuff normal, and not too long. But
yeah, I'd like to believe that as well too, and I really hope that does happen, relatively soon, all things considered, and, just getting back to that at least somewhat normal again. But at least until then, we got some amazing music that's been coming out in 2020, and, next week, again, with Cabal being able to release Drag Me Down through Long Branch Records. I mean, this album, it almost feels like essential listening right now to like match so many emotions that's going on in the world right now. And despite everything that's going on, I'm glad to see that this is still coming out and still being able to be there for fans both new and old.
Yeah, I'm glad too. It's just like, it went so horrible if we didn't get to release it because of all of this. Like, I know that's like a first world problem, but still, like, it means a lot to us that we still get to do this, and that we hopefully get to play some shows again in not too long.
Oh, very much so. And, I'm hoping that happens for you, and, of course, everyone else in the music scene that's going on as well, too. It's just amazing to see how many people are affected by all of this, and when all of this does eventually go away, I mean, that feeling of being able to go back and go to shows again, play shows again, it's going to be such an incredible feeling.
Yeah, you really get to to see what you're missing out on. Like, you really like start to appreciate all the shit that you just like kind of took for granted, but just like stuff that seemed normal, like that you can't do now. It's just like,
yeah, absolutely. But yeah, and just again, going back full circle with this again, it's like I am so happy to see this thing come out. I mean, from start to finish, it is such a great album to listen to, and the fact that it has been worked on for a couple years now, and the fact that it is finally coming out next week through such a great record label as Long Branch Records, and just seeing everything go along that way, I'm looking forward to see what's going to be happening in the future as long as everything gets back to normal with you guys. And being able to come back over here to the States and being able to hit new areas that you weren't able to hit the first time, like my area. I'd love to be able to see you guys make it to my area next time, and just be able to Minnesota.
Oh yeah, we weren't in Minnesota actually. That's true.
Oh, you were?
We weren't in Minnesota. That's actually true. But we'd love to come by at some point.
Oh, I didn't realize it actually hit Minnesota. I was looking for tour dates, and I actually didn't see it.
I don't think we hit Minnesota.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, but yeah, just like I was saying, I hope that does happen again, because I just imagine that you guys put on such a killer live show.
We try, at least, try to bring like a lot of energy into our shows. Just like to move around a lot and be engaging with the crowd, be like in what's it called, like the same that eyesight, just like kind of be in your face and like still inviting like people to participate.
Oh, very cool. And yeah, I'm looking forward to that as well too, and just everything getting back to normal like that. And I think that's a good note to end on as well too. Thank you so much for taking this time. A busy day on your end, but thank you very much for taking the time to be able to do this, talk about this brand new album coming out next week through Long Branch Records. I love this thing, and it was great to be able to talk to you about it, the state of the world right now, and everything that's going on in your world right now.
Yeah, it's a pleasure being on the show, man.
Oh, not a problem. Before we wrap things up, is there anything else you'd like to mention that I hadn't brought up yet?
No, I'd just like to tell everybody to make sure to listen to our new album and buy it if you have the money for it these days.